Hi, everybody. Again, I'm Miles Davis with the After LLC. I'm trying a virtual background. Um, so today we're going to talk about our building social media plan. It's so important to have a plan with your social media, just as important as it is to have a business plan. So we're going to talk about some of the key elements to building that and where you can start and where you can find resources in order to support you in building your social plan. So I just want to get with talking about where do we start? How do we get with building a social media plan? I'm going to share my screen here in a second. So first things first is we definitely want to create a social media audit. So I will share in the chat an example. It's a blog from Hootsuite, an example of a social media audit. Um, an audit helps you to see at currently, where you followers, how many followers you have, how many likes that you are getting on average on your post, um, on all of your social media channels, whether it be Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all of those channels. You want to create it so that you know where you're starting at currently. That way, you're able to really tell what's working and what's not. Um, you can start searching your name and see if you have any imposter accounts. Talk about that. Um, you can also see which, like, if you have deleted profiles that you need to revive or shut down. Um, when you get a social media audit, you're able to really see that currently, so make sure that you can build upon that. So again, I'm dropping that link in the chat right now so that you guys can check out. We won't go into social media audits too much, so I want you guys to check out creating a social media audit. Just for the sake of time, um, it's really important you guys look at that, but we won't go into that in too much detail. So also just deciding what's important when you're creating your social media plan. So once you complete your audit, you want to kind of review that information that you've gathered, um, and you can start to see which social media channels are performing well and which ones might need you to make some changes, make some adjustments. Um, you want to really start thinking about what's important for you to achieve with your social media goals. So you really want to align that with your business plan and say, okay, my business, this is the goal. This is our 3 to plan business, social media. What are my specific social media goals in order to reach my overall or overarching business plan? Um, there's a way that you can create a social media plan that is very much in line with your business plan. I actually add social media into my business plans. It helps validate projections. It helps to just solidify your business plan as far as the marketing method that I'm going to use in order to reach my overarching goals. I like to use the SMART framework. So right now I'm going to share my screen um, so that you guys can see what the SMART framework is. Okay, can everybody see that? Okay, great. Perfect. So SMART, it's an acronym and it stands for let me go back really quick. It stands for specific, measurable, um, excuse me, sorry, attainable, relevant, and time bound. So let's start with specific. When you're creating a social media plan, you really want to be clear. Um, for example, does increased engagement mean you want 100 new followers, 1,000? Making sure your social media goals are specific, it really helps you to track your progress and measure success. So, for example, I work with an organization called Noise, North Omaha Information Support Everyone. They've been one of my for a little over a year now. And when we started, a lot of our attention was focused on engagement, getting the community involved, making sure that our numbers were growing in engagement. One of the first things that I mentioned to them is that we have to set specific engagement goals, because that way we're able to see where our benchmarks are. We're able to make sure that we are um, the right things in order to reach those goals. Because if you don't set specific goals, you're not able to really tell whether something's working or not. Um, what's happening is you're just saying, hey, I want more followers. And then it's like, okay, well, that could be one follower, that could be two followers, that could be 10 followers, that could be 1,000, but it's not specific enough that you can say, okay, I got 100 followers because I was posting more regularly, or I got 1,000 followers because I was commenting and liking more posts. So it's important to make sure that you're specific so that you can see what things are working and what things are not. When it comes to the next step, measurable, this it fits right in perfectly with specific, because when you're specific about your goals, then you're able to measure them. It says that every goal needs some kind of metric. For example, improve customer service is a great concept, but it's a goal unless you have a way to measure that improvement. So, for example, if you want to improve customer service, the Facebook response time might be something that you want to improve. If it says that you respond within 24 hours, you might want to improve that to respond in a few hours. So that's a way that you're able to really measure your progress based off of your specific goals. So make sure that you set a specific and then you're able to measure it. And that way you're able to really track your improvement. Um, Attainable. Your social media goals should absolutely require you to stretch, but they should be within reach, put in the required work. Very important that we are being realistic about, just like a business plan, we don't want to um, overextend ourselves in a way that is unattainable. We want to make sure that it's within reach, it's within our realm of possibility when we're creating a social media plan. So we can't say, I want 1,000 new followers in 3 days. We want to make sure that, okay, I'm going to work towards 1,000 new followers over 6, over a year. And this is how I'm specifically going to do that. Because we want to make sure that our goals are attainable, so that we can achieve them, so we feel a sense of accomplishment and we feel a sense of motivation to continue to reach our in the future. We don't want to burn ourselves out trying to reach an unattainable goal, media goal. Also, it says that this is the piece that ties your goal setting back to larger business objectives. If your goals involve increasing Facebook likes, for example, make sure you understand how that will benefit the business. So again, we want to make sure that we're tying it back to our overarching business plan and what specific goals that we can measure and that are attainable are relevant to our business plan. Um, Facebook likes, that can be relevant if we were, for example, like Noise. We're a news organization. Our biggest goal is to reach people, engage with people. So Facebook likes would be a good metric to follow, to set goals in. But for example, if we were a boutique here in Omaha or a boutique where in the world, we would want maybe something like traffic to our website, links in our bio, um, comments and reviews on our Facebook. So those are types of things that are not, it's not reviews anymore. It's actually recommendations, but those are the types of things that we would want to tracking. And those are the types of things that we would want to set goals that are relevant to our business. So make sure that each social media goal is relevant to your overarching business plan. All right, time bound. So deadlines keep everyone accountable. Include a time frame for completion of your goals so that you know when to check in on your success. You might also want to include milestones along the way for incremental check-in. This is very important to set a time limit. Give yourself a schedule when it comes to reaching your goals. I talked about this before. We want to make sure it's attainable. We want to say we want 1,000 followers in 3 days, but it's important that we set a time limit. So if we want 1,000 followers to increase our engagement, we want to make sure we're setting an attainable time-bound goal. And we're saying, I want to reach this month. And it's important that we set incremental check-ins or milestones along the way and say, okay, if my goal in 6 months is to have 1,000 additional words, it's important that in order for me to see my progress that I set incremental check-ins. So in 1 month, I want to have 350 more followers. In 2 months, 1 month, I would like to have 250 more followers. In 2 months, I will have 500 followers. 3 months, and on and so forth. So we make sure that we're reaching those deadlines, but we're making sure that we're checking up on our progress along the way. So that's it. And I would definitely write this down, make sure that each goal fits into this criteria, and you'll find a lot more success, and it'll be a lot easier to plan your social media by following these steps. Let me stop sharing my screen. Okay, so that's the SMART method. Very important. And again, I will share, we have an ebook available on our website that goes specifically or more depth into detail about the SMART method and how you can use that to continue to create your social media plan. Um, just a few more things about the SMART method, just to kind of get you guys to understand how this could align with your goals, with your overarching business plan, not just with your social media plan being separate. You want to make sure that it's connected to your business plan. Um, for example, this enabled that share article with you guys as well. The Suite blog. Um, we're talking about a water company, for example, and they wanted to create a specific sustainability plan. Their value statement, and it's important to set a value statement because that helps you to really understand what your mission is, and then you're able to set specific goals based off of that. It says, we value water. Water is essential for life. It is also a key resource for our industry. So they set goals, and it says by 2020, so again, that's time bound. By 2020, we will achieve 20% water savings on our strategic suppliers, at our strategic suppliers, 50% water savings at our apparel material suppliers, and 30% water savings per employee at our own sites. So this is the business plan. These are the goals that are with what a social media can help them with. So by 2020, they said that they would increase a lot of different areas in their business plan. So how does the SMART method help them to align their social media plan with their overarching business plan? So here's how to align with the SMART framework. So being specific to start. they don't just want water savings, they want a specific percentage of water savings, various contexts. So, for example, they wanted 20% water savings at our strategic suppliers. They wanted 50% water savings at the apparel material suppliers and 30% water savings per employee at their own sites. So it was very specific in what they did and what the context was. So it's important that it's like you're saying, I want to increase my sales um, in a specific area or for a specific product. Who are you specifically engaging with that? It's important that you really connect with your specific goal with a specific context as well. How is that? How can we measure that? So it says that identifying a clear baseline and percentage for important means Adidas can, excuse me, the Adidas can, this is an Adidas um, example. So identifying a clear baseline and percentage for important Adidas can measure progress year. Their sustainability plan itself refers to tangible and measurable goals. So for example, they said that they are able to increase it by 20%, so the measurable goal. And these are clearly within the lines of what attainable for them or sustainable for them. So they create a goal that was measurable. If they said by 2020 they want to raise it by 20%, they're able to see at the end of 20 or at the beginning of 20 or so on and so forth. They're able to see if they've reached their goal. So it's measurable. Attainable is the next one. It says judge this from the out, but the Adidas sustainability plan suggests they've calibrated their goals to be challenging but attainable. It is about being prepared, setting the right pace, and having both the drive and stamina to go the distance. So again, if you're setting goals, you want to make sure they're attainable. Do I have the resource to go the distance? Will I have time to go the distance? So you really want to make sure that, again, it's with your business goal, with your resource, and it aligns with your time to make sure that it's attainable, that you can reach these specific goals. How is this relevant? The chosen goal has direct impact on the world of sports we operate in. So again, what is it into your business? It doesn't necessarily, like for example, this is an Adidas um, mainly. They create apparel, but they're choosing to have a sustainability project because it direct impacts the industry that they're in. So it's important that everything that we do on social media be directed towards a specific product or towards more of a value or a mission that is relevant to our industry. Way that we are really being specific about how we are involving ourselves on social media. And that way it's not confusing for people. You wouldn't want to be an oil company thinking about global warming and how to stop global warming. That probably wouldn't make very much sense. So you want to make sure that you are setting goals that are relevant to your industry. Timely. So, and this goal was set a deadline of 2020. So you want to make sure that it's time bound and make sure that you're able to measure that based off of the time that you're giving yourself. So that's important. Make sure it is the SMART method. So we're just gonna move on to a few other things, including our KPI, our key performance indicators. Give me 1 second, let me pull this up. All right. So key performance indicators, you really want to know and learn everything that you can about your audience. Um, so you want to really make sure that when it comes to your target audience, you should know things like their age, their location, their average income, maybe the typical job or the industry, the interest, things like that. So you really want to know who you're targeting and who your audience is. That way you can really um, shape your content to fit the interest of that audience specifically. Um, Here's a link that I'll share with you guys also from Hootsuite. Talks about how to create a persona for your audience. So this will help you guys to know who your audience is. So follow this link. We won't go into this. Oh, I'm sending this directly to Kim. I'm sorry. Was I sending all of that to Kim? Okay. Yes, I was not looking at the chat. Okay, there we go. So here is um, a way that people can see how to build that persona and figure out their age, their interests, their location, their job or industry. Um, Follow that link and will help you guys to really know more about who your target audience is. You'll get to know your fans, your followers, and customers more as a real person, so that you can understand how to identify with them. Gathering data. You never want to assume or think Facebook is better, or Instagram is better to reaching millennials or whatever. You really want to make sure that you're gathering accurate data based off of your content, based off of your reach. So you're able to check um, Facebook, you're able to check Instagram and Twitter analytics. There, we have a blog on our website that talks about checking those things. So you really want to go into and make sure that you're seeing exactly who's interacting with your page. Gather the data, make sure that you understand your audience, and don't make assumptions. Don't think that Facebook is for baby boomers. Don't think that Instagram is for millennials. There's a wide array of people using all of the social media platforms, but who's interacting with your content? Who is your specific target market? Make that you identify that so that you know how to maneuver your content in order to fit the interest of your market. Also, you want to know who your competition is. Um, there, odds are, especially if you're starting a new business, this is the beginner's guide to social media marketing. If you're starting a new business or you're just not on social media yet, competitors are already using social media. So it's important to learn what they're doing, how they're doing it, how often they're posting, so that you can understand what you're getting yourself into and what market you are placing yourself in and what caliber um, you're going to have to operate at in order to be competitive. You can conduct a competitive analysis, and I'll share that with you guys as well. And this way you can really see how you compare to other people in your industry. That way you can really understand where you need to be in order to compete, in order for you to be competitive within your industry on social media. So there's also a that you can use called social listening. It's another to keep an eye on your competitors. Um, I'll share a blog about social listening as well. We won't go into it, but social listening is the process of monitoring social media channels for mentions of your brand, competitors, products, and more. So you're able to really, it's a way for you to be everywhere at once. And so you're able to, what yours are doing, what your industry is doing, what brand, where your brand is being mentioned or talked about, a lot of those things. So I'll share this also in the chat. Make sure that you guys look at this so that you can be aware of what's going on. You don't have to necessarily always looking at everything and being so engrossed into social media. You can really keep an eye on everything in an organized way by using the social listening tactic. And Hootsuite is a great, Hootsuite is a great tool that you can use your relevant keywords. We'll talk about Hootsuite as a platform a little bit later in our series, so in a couple weeks. But really using Hootsuite or other tools in order to monitor relevant keywords and other accounts in real time is important because you're able to organize it a little bit better instead of flipping back and forth using Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and you'll be on your phone all day if you did that. But using tools like Hootsuite will help you to monitor all of those things and keep them in a place that's organized in order for you to continue to create a social media plan that makes sense for your business and for your industry. All right. So I know a lot of people were asking me if the first week, the second week, what social media channels should I use? Um, and this is really a part of your social media plan. Um, So you want to really decide which social media channels you want to use. As you decide which social media channels you use, you will also need to define your strategy for each. So each is the completely different platform. So you want to have a strategy for each social media platform. For example, if you were to be on Instagram, it would be a completely different platform than Twitter. So you would have completely different content potentially reaching completely different target markets. So it's important that you have a designated plan for Twitter, for Instagram, for Facebook, for it, for so on and so forth. You want to make sure that you have a specific plan. All right. Um, these are just a few things when you're writing out your mission statement for each network, and it's important to write out a value statement or a mission statement for each network, what your goals are for each social media platform. This is just one sentence declaration to keep your focus on a specific goal. For example, um, we will use Twitter for customer support to keep email and call volumes down. People do that. A lot of people just use Twitter to boost their customer service. For example, another example is we will use LinkedIn for promoting and sharing our company culture to help with recruitment and employee advocacy. So again, specifically using each social media channel in order to specifically align with one of your overarching business goals. It's important to make sure that you have a mission statement for each social media channel. All right. I want to talk about how to find inspiration. I'm going to pull up and share my screen for noise and talk a little bit about what inspiration looks like and how you can use these same tools in order to build your social media accounts. Let me share my screen really quick. Does anyone have any questions so far? Maybe before I go into this next part about inspiration, finding inspiration for your social accounts. Any questions? All right. I will share my screen. Okay, so here is the Noise Omaha Instagram account. And so Noise is a North Omaha based or community led news project. Um, and basically the mission statement is to provide information to the community members of North Omaha. News that is useful, news that is relevant. So this Noise started in 2018, based off of a assessment that was done surrounding information and how people felt there was information that wasn't getting to them in order for them to make timely and relevant decisions on their own lives. So Dewan Hayes founded Noise in order to share information, to be a news outlet that was specifically catered to the residents of North Omaha. So, um, speaking of inspiration, so when I started working with as their digital marketing strategist, there were a lot of things that weren't well. So I was trying to figure out how do we share information easily, and something that we can replicate time and time again. So for example, we created a voters deadline guide, and it's just a slider, very simple, very easy. But where I got this from is I was looking at Washington Post, and they were creating just, I mean, especially over the course of the election, they're just creating simple text block that shared just the headline of something that was going on. And so we decided that we were going to do something similar. So there was a lot of engagement by one sentence or two sentence text block. And then there was a lot more information in the copy. So it was important that, or we saw that this was useful. So we decided to take inspiration from this in order to share news that was relevant to North Omaha. So that's exactly what we did. Um, and that's a way that you guys can also replicate inspiration, just pulling different looks, pulling different ideas from um, different sources that are also in your industry. That's okay. It's okay to do that. So we started to do that, and we just did blocks with information, and that those seem to get a lot of engagement, a lot of people responding to those. For example, this got 450 likes. Um, and then we just said Omaha City Council to consider overturning the mayor's veto, and we shared a lot more information in the copy. So we just use the same model. It was very effective, got a lot of engagement. We still use that today to share information. So that's just an example of inspiration. So finding people in your industry, really, it's really okay to glean things from them and use that in your own way. So it's the same thing as let me stop sharing my screen. It's the same thing I was talking about earlier when we were talking about competitors and doing competitor analysis. Those are the types of things you can glean from doing that research on your competitors. Is what are they doing? How are they reaching their followers? How are they being effective in engagement? Those are the types of things that you could glean from them and use for yourself in order to make sure that you are competitive and you're at the caliber that you need to be in order to be effective in engagement. Okay, so I also want to talk about creating a social media calendar, a content calendar, um, because sharing consistent great content is essential to building your social media. accounts and sponsoring engagement. But it's important to have a plan in place so you can share your content and have the maximum impact. Make sure that you are effectively engaging. Um, I will share a link in how to create a social media content calendar. Again, we won't go into detail for um, because of lack of time, but here is a link that you guys can follow. It'll show you guys how to create a social media calendar. Um, and you can just go through that article. It has a template that you can use. There's video attached to it as well. Um, and really, honestly, using a social media calendar helps you to save time and be organized. It helps you to post consistently. You're able to make fewer typos and reduce the risk of making big mistakes. Um, you're able to get more ambitious with your social media strategies. You don't miss any relevant moments, all those things. And those things are also mentioned in the link, the blog that I just showed you guys. So or share with you guys. So you're able to go to that and check that out, and it'll show you how to build a social media calendar, content calendar, um, and that'll really help you guys with building your plan. Did anyone have any questions? Where is the link? Um, I shared it. Let me share it one more time, and I'll share it specifically to you, Maria. Here's the link. Okay. Um, so after you create this social media calendar, make sure that you're also setting a posting schedule. If you go into Facebook and Instagram, you're able to see what the optimal times to post are based off of your followers when they're online. And you're able to see that. I can share with you guys this blog that talks about the best times to post on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. Um, this is a great resource to look at. It's a pretty short blog, but it talks about, when is the optimal time? When should I post? I know a lot of people have that question. So here is a blog about when you should post. I will be releasing another ebook about optimizing your social media profiles. And in that ebook, it will talk in depth about how to figure out when you should post. Specifically, whether it be by day, by the time. We'll talk about specifically when in specific industries when it is appropriate to post and when you're going to get the most engagement. All right. And I'm just to kind of wrap it up, um, I'm going to share with you guys a strategy template. You do have to sign up for Hootsuite with this. However, you can choose to not get any emails or anything. They just kind of want some information as far as business for their own analytics and things like that. So here, oh, sorry, I sent that directly to Maria. All panelists. Here is a social media strategy template. So it is a template that goes into detail about all the things that we talked about today. And you're able to just kind of follow the steps and fill in based off of your own industry, based off of your own business. And that is how to create a social media plan. Does anyone have any questions or any things they would like me to go over a little bit more? Um, Again, you guys can always email me any questions. I'm happy to share any resources with you guys. Please let me know. there's any questions. What is your email? I will drop that in the chat as well. I will drop my website so you guys can contact me, either one. I will also drop the link to this ebook download, which talks about the SMART method in it that we talked about earlier. So you guys are able to download that ebook, and then you're able to check out the SMART method, and it shows you guys some examples and how to incorporate that into your own business. Any other questions? And we do have a question and answer.
Well, while we're waiting for questions to come in, just in case, I would say thank you for everybody for joining us. If you are interested in watching part 1 and 2, that is on our website, our Do Space YouTube channel, which I will share again. I shared that at the beginning of the webinar. Also, oh, whatever. Also, if you are interested, we have Do Space has a kind of like it's a website called Beanstack, and if you sign up for an account on DoSpace Beanstack, you can basically check in there saying that you have attended this webinar, and you can do it for any webinars that you attend, and which then leads you to allows you to then win some like prizes and things like that. So if you are interested, I will put that in the chat as well. And it does look like there is a question by Jennifer. Yeah, type in your question, Jennifer. I think we'll see what it is, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, just ask the question, Jennifer, and then if we're going to answer it in the upcoming sections, then I'll let you know that. If I can answer it now, then I will, or if I can answer it later for you, then I'll tell you that too. So just let me know what the question is. I've seen a lot of animated type graphics in social media posts. I'm curious how those are made and if they are well received. Animated in what way? So I'll share my screen really quick and show you guys our social media channel and see if this is what you mean. Okay. Share screen. Is this what you mean? Like animations like this, or for example, an animation like this, like moving animation? Just to clarify. A handwriting or a box giving access across screen movement. There's multiple apps that you can use in order to do that. I actually did a review of an app called Over, and I will share that with you guys again. And this is the app that I use in order to make my social media graphics. It's an Over, so I did an app review of that, and I will share that with you here, and you're able to do that. But that's a good place to start. You're able to incorporate videos and images. So just check that app review out, and that will be a good place for you to start. You can see if you like that app, and just go from there. I think trying that out, there'll be some suggestions in the App Store for other apps similar to that. And that should be available on Google Play Store, should be available on iOS, all those things. So try that out. And yes, I think they are well received. I think that people really engage with graphics. Um, so yes, very well received. Jennifer says, I'm old school. Can you use those apps on a desktop? The Over is not available on a desktop, only on a mobile device. On desktop, you're going to get more traditional applications or programs that are very expensive. Um, there's very little, to my knowledge, and I can do some research if you send me an email and maybe find something for you. But very few applications that are available on desktop that are affordable or that are easy to use without any training. I'm sure DoSpace has a lot of training on a few other applications and programs that you can use to make social media graphics, such as Photoshop or Illustrator, those types of things. But those do cost quite a bit. We have a question in the question and answers. It says, we are a small nonprofit that is an after-school program. We serve one high school with limited number of students served each year. How much time plus energy should we put into social media when we can't serve a greater population? That's a great question. I actually used to be a site director at Hartman Elementary School for an after-school program, and I ran a social media channel for them as well. I think that it depends on your industry, but specifically with after-school programs, you have to remember who you're targeting. So you might be targeting funders. You might be targeting partners. You might be targeting providers. You might be targeting other students. You might be like parents. So you got to remember the time and energy you spent is related to your goal as an organization. So if you wanted more funding, then make sure that your social media posts are driving or are specifically meant to connect you to your funders. I'm sorry, I lost my words there. You want to make sure that whatever you're posting on social media is aligned with your overarching business goal. If it is to get more students at some point, then you want to make sure you're targeting with your post families and students. So make sure that you're just spending time and energy being specific about what you're posting on social media, less about the frequency or the time at first, but be specific about your post. So I would say just specific. All right. Any other questions? Again, please feel free to send me an email or contact us through the website. Me or Lindsay. Lindsay is my assistant, will be happy to respond to you with an answer if we can. All right.
Okay, well, it seems like I would say we'll give it a few more seconds to get your questions in. Otherwise, I'm going to say we are maybe done for the day. Again, thank you, Miles, for joining us for your series, part 3. Again, make sure if you are wanting to join us for part 4, go to our website at dospace.org to register from our calendar. Registering for this class does not register for you all for all of the series parts. So just make sure you are doing that if you would like to join us for the next part. And I think as of right now, all of them are up on our calendar through February. So if you would like to, you can sign up for any and all of them, and the descriptions are on the calendar. It doesn't look like we have any other questions for the time. So again, thank you, Miles, and thank you everybody for joining us today. And we hope to see you next time.
All right. See you next week, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.